I think, and I hope you will agree with me, that for the past 4 years, we managed jointly with colleagues like you to push the topic of NATO and security more into the mainstream of public discourse.
Let's compare what you have seen in the very beginning of your term here. What has changed?
I think, as I said, it's the overall feeling of people being interested. And whilst maybe at the very beginning of my travels, they were maybe a little bit timid to ask questions. They were more in a listening mode. Later, I found that the people were much more willing to engage in a dialogue and to present their opinions, even critical ones, and to have an open debate. And of course, the young people, regardless of where they live, are genuinely more curious and more interested. And I can maybe give you a very vivid example of this generational change of thinking. It happened, I believe, about 2 years ago. We were in Zaporizhia at a local university. And at first I was met by a representative of the older generation, if I can call them this way, who welcomed me very nicely in Zaporizhia at the university and said, "Oh, so you're from NATO, so you brought rockets with you." So I thought to myself, well, here we go again, you know, NATO, stereotypical military, it must be aggressive, we must bring rockets with us. Later that day, at the same university, I had a lecture and a discussion with young students. And one of the young men raised his hand and he said, "We do understand that we need to do reforms. It's our homework. We need to do it for ourselves. What does NATO think about it?" And that was amazing to me.
But those young people also expect some military assistance as well?
Not necessarily. They understand much better and much broader that NATO is not just a military alliance. We are a political organization as well. We are an international organization built on some democratic principles and values. And while we do offer security guarantee at the same time, there are some commitments and obligations for a country to join NATO. And this is what I believe the young man was hinting at in Zaporizhia, that the country needs to do reforms first and foremost, and they have to be done by the people of the country. And I particularly find it very important that we were able to bring this discourse to the regions. We have really engaged in a much more profound information type of a discussion rather than just some, basic slogans about NATO. We understand that the work is maybe slow sometime. Maybe we would wish for it to be faster, but I really feel over the last 3.5 years that the intensity but also the quality of the public discourse about NATO has really gotten much more ingrained and gotten much deeper. And I give you another very favorite example of mine. Mm-hmm. For a few years, we were running with the Human Rights Foundation here in Ukraine a show called NATO Radio Marathon. This is every year at a different radio station, a series of 10 broadcasts where we talk about NATO and NATO member states, and we have a little quiz. And then the citizens who are listening, the listeners call in and have to answer the questions. And last year it happened so that we didn't even have the chance to finish the question when we already got a call with the right answer. It was extraordinary, and it happened on several occasions. And I would say, well, we don't need to do this quiz anymore. I mean, the listeners knew everything.
So that means that within these years some progress is visible, because
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so. That's why I'm giving this concrete examples, because although we all believe in opinion polls, I think we also should look maybe at some empirical evidence, and that is why I'm sharing these wonderful examples that will stay with me also when I return back to Brussels.
Любі друзі, я дуже рада чудовій нагоді повернутися до України і працювати над просуванням НАТО. Я вже працювала в Україні декілька років тому назад. Я подорожувала країною і зустріла багато чудових людей. І з нетерпінням очікую на початок нашої співпраці.